Now we go to the book and the man. Jesus is not one of the group of the world's great. Talk of Alexander the Great and Charles the Great and Napoleon the Great, if you will. Jesus is apart. He is not the great. He is the only. This is the words of Carnegie Simpson. Why would he write such words like that? That was my question. I mean, can't he just write it ordinarily and say he is really very great? Why would he use these superlative descriptions? And that is our scrutiny this evening. When we look at him, apart from trying to compare him to anyone else, are there features there that are amazing? Number one, his unique entrance into history. His mother conceived him while she was yet a virgin. He had no paternal father. The virgin conception, birth of Christ, is utterly unique in human history. The question to me was not whether it really took place. That was not my primary question. Why was it prophesied? 600 years before he was born, Isaiah wrote and said that a virgin would conceive and a virgin would be pregnant and still remain a virgin. Do you think anybody in his right mind would make such a prediction? Such a physiologically ridiculous prediction? How do you think in his mind he would have thought it would be fulfilled at all? And yet he made it. And looking down through history, there is only one serious claimant for its fulfillment, and that is the birth of Jesus. There is nobody else who has said that that's the way it would happen. My question is again, how come he made that prediction? Something was there. In fact, when he made the prediction, he said this would be a sign. It would be a supernatural sign. And therefore, when we look at history and find only one of a kind, I think as an honest inquirer, we should accept that as a supernatural sign. What use would it be to tell you that the marker along this road where you should turn is marked by a green tree when every tree is green? You've got to have something that is very different as a sign. And a virgin getting pregnant and remaining a virgin can be such a supernatural sign. It was predicted, behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, call his name Emmanuel. The virgin is pregnant, and despite the pregnancy, the mother is still considered to be a virgin. Number two, his unique sinless perfection. We saw that yesterday. 15 million minutes of life on this earth in the midst of a wicked and corrupt generation. Every thought, every deed, every purpose, every work, privately and publicly, from the time he opened his baby eyes until he expired on the cross, were all approved of God. Never once did our Lord have to confess any sin, for he had no sin. Christ's self-conscious purity is astonishing. He and he alone carried the spotless purity of childhood untarnished through his youth and manhood. He remains the highest model of religion within the reach of our thoughts, and no perfect piety is possible without his presence in the heart. David Strauss was one of the persons who criticized Christianity all his life. His writings and his speeches were of the kind that destroyed faith in Christ through the years of his life. But towards the end, when he re-examined what he had said all along and re-examined the life that had been lived for 33 years on this earth, this was what he had said. Sinless perfection, perfect sinlessness is what we would expect of God incarnate, and this we do find in Jesus Christ. The hypothesis and the facts concur. Miracles. Jesus' miracles were seen by eyewitnesses and reported and recorded in the same generation they were performed. No other miracle has been so recorded in ancient history. Number two, he himself performed the miracles unlike Muhammad or Moses. Even Muhammad, when he came down, he said, well, the angel spoke to me. The angel did the miracle. When Moses stood with his rod over the Red Sea, he told the children of Israel beside him, he said, look, wait and see how the Lord does it. He himself could not do it. None of the others ever claimed that the miracles were done by themselves. They claimed that it was done by God, except for this man. And then miracles are believed in non-Christian religions because the religion is already believed. But in the biblical religion, miracles are a part of the means of establishing the true religion. This distinction is of immense importance. It was a miracle authenticating the religion at every point. He kept on telling them, if you don't believe my words, at least believe what you are seeing before your eyes. Greatest words. After reading the doctrines of Plato, Socrates, or Aristotle, we feel the specific difference between their words and Christ is the difference between an inquiry and a revelation. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. These are the words of Jesus regarding his own statements. Never did the speaker seem to stand more utterly alone than when he uttered this majestic utterance. Never did it seem more improbable that it should be fulfilled. But as we look across the centuries, we see how it has been realized. They have never passed away. 2,000 years later, they are still around. They have never passed away. What human teacher ever dared to claim an eternity for his words? Lasting influence. That ministry of Jesus lasted only 3 years, and yet in these 3 years is condensed the deepest meaning of the history of religion. No great life after its close excited such universal and lasting interest. As the centuries pass, the evidence is accumulating that Jesus, by his effect on history, Jesus is the most influential life ever lived on this planet. If you look at how his influence has gone into commerce, into literature, into religion, into the whole idea of spirituality, those words really come alive. He addressed deep needs. If any thirsts, let him come to me and drink. Come to me all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. All his teachings, all his miracles were aimed at alleviating something that was distressing somebody else, never for show. What can be more basic than thirst? What can be more welcome than rest when you are tired? How many of us have been tired of life so many times? And those are the points he addressed constantly. He was not worried about those who were watching him. He was worried about the one who he was confronting. And right there, he would delve into the deepest parts of that individual and address their need. And it was so universal that he could say, if anyone thirsts, and if you are tired, come to me. He addressed the naked heart of man and touched the quick of the conscience. And then the seventh one we saw yesterday, he conquered death. At this point, he parts ways with every other founder of every religion on earth. He predicted it. When they came to him and, they were upset, some of the people around him, and said, what kind of authority do you have? You are just a peasant. He turned around and said, there's only one point of authority. Kill me, I will rise again. That's my authority. Now think of it. Will you say that to anyone as your authority? Will anybody on earth say that to anybody else as their authority? Only a fool would say that. Kill me and I'll rise again, and that is my authority. Well, you kill him and he's gone. Unless he meant what he said. And so these seven, unique entrance into history, unique sinless perfection, performing miracles which was open and public, spoke the greatest words, has the most lasting influence, and addressed the deep needs in your heart and mind, and then goes into death, conquers it, and comes back and says, I've got the keys in my hand. It definitely is unique as far as the characteristics in one individual.